Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay at home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight, got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet, cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Home Dad Chat. I am one of the co-hosts. My name is Brock, and I've got my other co-host with me tonight.
What's up, Brock? This is Danny.
Yeah, Danny is back. Second week in a row. We're excited.
Yeah. I'm on a streak now. I'm on a streak.
Yeah, no kidding. It's awesome. And we're gonna be talking something that's just a little bit more fun and enjoyable, and something that I think everybody discusses, which is schedules and routines, and how to build them, how to keep them, how to tweak them, all that fun stuff. And so if you're somebody that's, been trying to figure out how to do that, hopefully we can teach you something, or you can tell us that we're full of it, and that's fine too.
I have to say that I know you really don't like routines. And I'm really, really just proud of you for saying that it's going to be fun. We are going to have fun tonight talking about routines. and I love that positive attitude, because it can be,
I'm very lax. I do have a quote unquote a sort of routine and schedule for my family, but yeah, we keep it pretty chilled. There's not a lot of boxes to check, except for like some of the major ones throughout the day. So, but yeah, I think that I think there's something for everybody in that we'll be talking about in this show.
Yeah.
But before we get into all that, just kind of curious, like, how was your day and what was for dinner?
Today was great. Overall, the kids are all starting to get a little like winter cold, so they're getting a little cranky. But honestly, even with that, I mean, you can tell like when they get to their limit and they're just tired and don't feel well, they were all just pretty much calm. There weren't any huge outbursts or fights or anything. No one had a meltdown. So I call that a win.
Yeah.
And as far as dinner, I mean, it's Tuesday. So Taco Tuesday.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. Nice.
And no guessing. No guesswork in my house, man. All routine.
Yeah. And that was in stereo. That was awesome. Well, that's cool. Yeah, for me, it was a pretty laid back day. I'm trying to think. So, I ended up doing 2 podcast episodes already today for my other show. So that was fun, talking to a couple different dads. Yeah. About things that are going on in their lives. So had that. And I had to go close a bank account, which that's always fun to do.
Right.
Yeah. Just
the worst.
It's never a fun thing adulting in that way, but took care of that, picked the kid up from school. It was, pretty uneventful. And then for dinner tonight, just threw together a rice with like a kielbasa sausage and some like mixed frozen vegetables. Cooked all that up, the spices and whatnot. Just something really easy. And then we had some like frozen strawberry dessert that we made it a while ago, and of course it's frozen, so it's not like it's going to go bad or anything in the freezer. But my wife was like, do you think we should like eat this or maybe get rid of it or whatever? I'm like, let's just eat it. It was, nothing wrong with it.
The kids need the calories for sure.
Yeah. So, they got dessert out of it. They ate all their food. So that was kind of the prize for that. But yeah, it was a very good day. So yeah, I'd say a win as well. So not bad. Hey, we both got wins for the day.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Awesome, man. But yeah, like we're talking routines tonight. And like I said, it is a conversation that comes up so often within just parents in general. Moms are trying to figure it out. Dads are trying to figure it out. Stay-at-home parents are always trying to figure it out and adjusting as is with all of the chaos that goes on in the house. People find them different places, or they come up with them in different ways. Like, so I'm curious, like, how did you come about building your like schedule / routine for your family? Was it, like, how did you get it? And how
trial and error, just trial and error. I mean, because, well, there's a certain amount of things like for your morning routine, you're always going to have, okay, they need to get out of bed. They need to get dressed. They need to get their teeth brushed. They need to eat. So you have those things, but how they work, for each kid and for really, I think each family, really, the the thing with us for like in the mornings, we have 4 kids that are getting up. So who like my oldest takes a shower in the morning. Great. And she needs it. She's a teenager, so they all stink. But when she does it, change it or has changed over the last 6 months or so because of the other kids getting up and they need to be in the bathroom. We only have one bathroom for all 4 kids unless they come, use ours. So really just trying it and seeing and just, whoa, we can never do that again because everybody had to be in the bathroom at the same time. Whereas, okay, so the 2 youngest can start out, they need to go to the bathroom as soon as they get up. They can't hold it. So, or not for very long. So they're not going to wait through a shower. So they go first and then she comes in afterward. And, my 11-year-old is, he's just kind of in the mix, but if he gets up, he can get up later than them because he goes to school later and everything. So it's just, I hate to say it, but a shots in the dark, what's going to work? Oh, well, okay, this works. And that's how we stick to it.
Nice. Yeah.
How about you?
For us, we just kind of set up, I think for us, like as far as schedule goes, my wife really kind of got on that one. Like I said, I'm the laid back one.
Yeah.
She wants a little more like actual structure with things. And so for her, she kind of just started like asking different people, different friends of ours, like, what do they do? Then she also got on Pinterest and started looking around on there, and
good resource.
She just came up with, it was a great resource. I mean, there all kinds of people had like different charts and different things to do. And and so she ended up finding just sort of like a basic, like, all right, like, when you get up in the morning, you come downstairs, get some breakfast, get done eating breakfast, go back upstairs, get dressed, make your bed. Which, they actually, for the most part, try to do that, which is kind of nice for a 5 and a 7-year-old.
Yeah. Good habit.
I think my 7-year-old actually takes a little bit of pride in having his bed made. So,
nice.
They come downstairs, brush your teeth, that kind of stuff. Just, just like the basic things, like kind of getting ready, especially for school, get your shoes on, that kind of deal, vitamins. And then, in the afternoons, it's a lot of like, come home, make sure you get your stuff put away. Just those like little things to like put them in routine and two, to just be like, this is your responsibility. And there's a lot of times where you get that pushback of like, I don't want to do it. And it's like, hey, this is your stuff. I have my stuff. You have your stuff, like put it away. And that's really been helpful for us with like schedule of just, this is our schedule. This is what we have going on. Like my daughter likes to, for instance, like when I go to pick my son up from school, my daughter's always like, what time is it? Is it time to go pick him up yet?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, you're 5. We really need to work on getting you figured out time. I'm just kidding. Like that's still still a couple years off, but
that's good.
But I'm always like, it's not quite there yet. And we talk about like the hands on the clock because I've got like an actual analog clock on the wall. So I'm like when the hand is here and here, like that's when we'll leave to go pick him up. So just things like that really help with teaching the kids like different aspects of how we're going to move about the day.
Well, you mentioned like Pinterest and the charts and stuff, all the stuff that you can find out there. Like, is that what you use to kind of teach your kids the routine? And was it like words or pictures or what worked?
Yeah. So I actually have them with me, which if you're watching this on YouTube, you will get to see them. So, which you can see that I've got like a little schedule here.
Oh, nice.
Morning and nights.
Yeah. Yellow for the morning and the sun drawn on it. And then the purplish darker color for the evening. That's cool with the moon.
Yeah. So, it talks about, waking up, breakfast, vitamins, that kind of stuff, getting dressed. And then for bedtime talks, PJs and showers and combing your hair and brushing your teeth and all that jazz. So, I mean, it's nice. Like they can look at it if they're ever trying to figure out like, what am I supposed to be doing right now? It's like, well, go check the chart.
Yes.
And voila, like he can, like my oldest can read. And so he can read it to my daughter and they're like, all right, we got to do this now. And so it kind of also gives him the ability to have a little bit of leadership and that way. So yeah, it's worked out really well. And we keep it hung on the wall across from our bathroom so that they can see it. Yeah, works.
Yeah. And I love too, and like you talked about it's helping him with his reading, and then it's helping her too, if she can look at it and say, okay, well, that word means bath or whatever word it is. And people are, I think, we don't really give kids enough credit for how quickly they can learn to recognize words, if not
Oh
necessarily
yeah.
read. But I mean, if you go into any kindergarten class and hold up the golden arches, that big McDonald's M, every kid in there is going to go, yeah, I know what that is. And it's just
Hmm.
brand recognition for me, McDonald's, great marketing and what they do, but that ability to find what that word means, that thing. So when I see that shape of lines, basically, and they
Hmm.
begin reading like that, I think that's great. I mean, we started with
Yeah.
pictures with ours, but with every picture beside it had the word of whatever it was. So
Well, I think that's that's a whole nother like talk we can definitely have about how to teach your kids how to read type of
yeah.
thing. We'll
Oh,
have to
sure.
definitely do that some other night for
Yeah.
sure. So schedule wise, like, yeah, like that's how things are and routine. I know that we've talked a little bit about food routine in the past because we were discussing that on a previous episode or
Yeah.
whatever. But um, how does like the routine sort of like change for you as like you progress through the year? So I mean, like every season is going to have a little bit of different change with it as far as like what you can do,
Hmm.
where you can go, that kind of thing. Is there any sort of like time limits or like how is there anything that you put on that for like, okay, if we're going to go here, like we've got this much a lot of time kind of deal, or how does that work for you?
You mean just for going out in general, or specifically like for an activity, like we're going to, I don't want to say a movie, but let's say, because I'm not taking all my kids to a movie. I'm not a millionaire, but like
Right.
for something like that, I always. Do you mean for timing for that and how we
More
schedule
like,
it?
yeah, like
Yeah,
timing
yeah.
for like a park
Oh yeah,
or
yeah.
like, just that
Okay.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Just wanted to
yeah.
make sure I was hearing. Yeah. Well, I think
No, you're fine.
the biggest thing for me is making sure that they all understand how long we have, but kids don't have that ability. If you tell, the 5-year-old, you tell them, hey, we've got 10 minutes. They have no idea how long 10 minutes is, or most don't have any idea how long 10 minutes is. I don't know. And that's why they'll constantly ask you, is it time to go? Is it time to go? Is it time to go? I will tell you one thing that I've always done with my kids whenever we're driving anywhere, whenever we're going anywhere, and they invariably ask, how much longer? How long is it going to be till we get there? Every time. And I don't care where we're going, I say an hour. And I've never answered anything else. And even now, my oldest are plenty old enough to understand. Yeah, we're gonna drive, across the country. Oh wow, how long that's gonna take? How long is it gonna take? An hour. Okay, because I don't want to answer that question a million times, and I think it's just a waste of energy. So giving them just a non-answer, just so that they understand. I mean, my phrase was always, we'll get there when we get there. There's no way. I mean, we're going as fast as we safely can. We're doing everything we can get there, and we'll get there when we get there. And kids have a harder time getting that. They want a number. So I convinced my kids that everything was an hour away, and they stopped asking. It's only taken, my youngest is 6, so 6 years or 5
Yeah.
years, I guess, for talking. But when we get to places, I've found that we always have good routines about, say, the playground is a good example. I always sing a song with them when they were young to just give them the rules of the place that we were going. It was usually just a goofy song that I made up, to kind of give them, okay, remember, these are the rules, and staying where I can see them or whatever it might be. And I think the biggest part of winding it all down and getting them out of there, because that was the biggest problem I had for years, was telling them, all right, guys, we have 10 minutes left. And even if they don't understand that they have 10 minutes, how long is that? They have the understanding of, okay, so we're in our wind down time. We're headed towards getting our shoes back on if we're inside or whatever we're doing. We're going to have to do these things to wrap it up. So I'm going to make sure that I get, if I want to go up the slide one more time, I need to do it now, because I want to avoid it's time to go. And they're all, well, one more slide, one more jump, or whatever they want to do. And you don't want to take that away from them, because they're enjoying themselves and they're exercising and getting outside. But you got to get out of there. So for me, I've always told them, 10 minutes and then 5 minutes and 3 minutes or whatever. And when I get to 1 minute, they pretty much know, okay, well, we're about done. So I can't ask Dad, can I go slide 5 more times? In the beginning, they did that. Can I go just one more time? No, it's 1 minute and it's up. It's time to go. We've already said that. And they weren't always happy about it.
Yeah.
But having a descending amount of time for me has always been a good thing for my kids to hear, so that they get that understanding of, okay, so we're we're on our way out.
Yeah, that's the exact way that I basically operate when I'm at the park too. Like, hey, like
Nice.
we're gonna be here for like 30 minutes, and they're like, okay, and I'm like, I'll give you guys a countdown so that you know, like when it's getting close, and they do the same thing. Like, hey, we got 10 minutes, and I usually when I get to like 5 minutes, I'm like, hey, you got like 3 more times you can go down the slide, you know, kind of deal. And so they know like that.
Yeah.
So they'll hit it 3 times, and I'm usually watching them, and I'm like, all right, that was the 3rd time, we're gonna go now, and it's made a whole heck of a lot of like better transition, because before that I would just be like, all right, let's go, it's time to go. No, I want to go. You're like, oh gosh.
Yes.
So yeah, it's definitely good to have those time stamps and, you know, put that expectation out there ahead of time. So
when we get routines, whenever we go, like people for the longest time when the kids were younger, I would hear people say basically, well, just toss the kids in the van and go to the park and just, you know, get out of the house. And I'm like, yeah. Do you know what it takes to get these kids in the van? I mean, they don't even know where their shoes are, and they have a cubby where their shoes with their name on it. This is where your shoes go, and their shoes are not in there. And I find that getting a routine with them there too has been really good. Getting in and out of the vehicle, because now they can all even buckle themselves up. So I'm almost free and clear here. It's amazing. But having that understanding of, okay, so this is what we do, and this is the routine that we follow in. This is how we get in. This is who gets in first. That's always a fight for my kids, or it was. So who gets in first? Well, I get in first, and they're all standing at the door, and it's raining or we're freezing to death. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. Just get in. So now it's a matter of, okay, your seat's on that side, on the other side from the door, which we can get on both sides, but we get on the one side. Okay, so you go in first. Period. No, when we get out, that means the other person gets out first, because I'm going to make sure we use that same door.
Yeah.
And the routine for that has made going places so much easier as well, because the kids I don't have to tell them as much now. Now I think I don't actually tell them at all. This is where you are. This is where we're going. And they just boop, 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 all in their spots, and we're ready to go.
Nice.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Really.
That's the nice part. Like my 5-year-old knows how to buckle her seatbelt. So they're both in boosters. So they just pile in and get in their seats, and away we go. It's actually really nice. That was definitely a level up of parenting that I was like, oh wow, like I don't have to like get out of the car and buckle you in. Like, you know, it's like I'll hear like the click on the seatbelt, and I'm like, are you buckled? Yep, I'm buckled. Okay. Like,
there you go.
Away we go. Because I mean, we've got them pretty well trained, because if we like move the car and they're not buckled, they're like, wait, I'm not buckled.
Yes.
I'm like, hey, good deal. Like that's
good. Yeah.
That's what you want to hear. Because if you're ever in somebody else's car and they move, you want to be like, hey, wait a minute, I'm not buckled. So yeah, so that's awesome. I think that the more independence that kids get while, you know, kind of moving along, that's just going to help them that much more. So
yeah. And I think that routine in anything, I mean, kids just thrive on it. They really, really do appreciate it. And I really couldn't understand like why kids enjoy it so much. I know it's good for them, but why is it good for them, kind of thing. But I was either reading a book or talking to somebody who'd read this book. I don't remember, unfortunately, but they were talking about how that routine gives that child a sense of security. You know, this is how things work. This is how things go. Breakfast is like this. This is what it is. And being able to get into that routine makes them feel safer. Yeah. And more secure. Like, this is how we do things. And I really like the thought of that as routine being kind of a safeguard for them. And kind of too, it helps them understand that this is how we live, and it helps develop their relationships, both, you know, with the things that they're doing, of course, but also with their family. Yeah. You know, I know this is where sister's going. This is where brother's going. This is how it works. And that routine is just so beneficial. And I always knew, okay, so they won't be as cranky if I keep them on a routine. I'm all for it. But it's actually had, you know, there's been studies that have shown that it's really beneficial in the long run for their development.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know one of our family friends asked us about kind of like what our routine was at one point, because one of their kids just had to know what was going on like the next day. And if they didn't, like, it made it hard for them to sleep and things like that. And honestly, like, I don't tend to tell the kids like what's going on like the next day, just because, one, if it's something really exciting, they're most likely they're like me and they just can't sleep.
Yeah, they're not going to sleep.
Anytime I'm like, I remember when I was a kid, like we're going to Kings Island, like in the morning, we're leaving to go there or whatever. And it was like, dude, I wasn't sleeping. Like there was no way. Like I was ready to go. Like you might as well just put me in the car and I'll just sit there and wait for you. And like while the
Exactly.
rest of you sleep, kind of deal. Yeah. And then still to this day, like anytime we're doing anything exciting, it's like, I might as well just be ready to go. We just basically told them like, hey, like, I mean, if you can give them even just a little bit of something that's not too exciting, but gives them an idea, great. Or just basically say, hey, listen, like, I don't know what tomorrow really entails. So when we wake up, we'll figure it out in the morning while we're eating breakfast. So that way, you'll know. You need to wait until tomorrow because I don't even know because I'm trying to process today.
I'm not even done with today yet.
Right, exactly. It's like, well, I got to get XYZ done while you go to sleep and figure it out from there. So and I think that's the other part that's interesting about schedules and routines. Like you can set one up, but depending on what you get done or however it comes out, like it could flex just because there are things that we as parents try to get done or have to get done, like when the kids go to bed. And that doesn't always work out when you have kids that get upset because, they didn't get to read a book that they thought or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm talking about true life stuff right now. Anyway.
Deep breath. Just keep going. Come on.
Okay.
Just keep swimming. Yeah. Just keep swimming.
Yes. So, I mean, that pivot, trying to figure it out is important to do. You got to give yourself some grace when you set stuff up and realize that it's not all going to play out maybe the way that it should. Also too, I think like, so for our routine, we try to get the kids in bed, no later than 8:00 at night. Some people find that to be almost too early, which is pretty interesting with some of our friends. They're like, oh man, we let our kids stay up till like 8:30, 9:00. I'm like, when do you ever get any time for yourself?
9:30, 10:00. And I'm just like, no.
Yeah, no way. And so, we've set a hard standard that at like 7:00, we'll basically start working on getting the kids to bed. And there's some nights where, man, I mean, we've had them in bed at 6:30 and we're just like, like, especially in the summertime, like we'll get them to bed at like 6:30. It's like, wow, we can go outside and like sit on the porch when it's still sunny out. Like, this is great. But like tonight, for instance, there's this nights where you're just like, all right, I just really want to connect with my kids and cuddle. And so we, after dinner, just like hanging out on the couch and kind of just cuddling and wrestling around and being goofy. And it was just nice. And we knew that they were end up going to bed a little bit later. And, they're a little, I don't know. It's funny when you throw kids off. Sometimes they do well with it. Sometimes they don't. For whatever reason, tonight it did not go well. But it was enjoyable getting to have that time of cuddling and tickling and just being goofy and silly with each other. So you really got to look for those though, I think, because it's important to have that time with your kids.
Yeah. And being able to be flexible. I mean, like you said, it's a requirement. I talk about enjoying schedules, and I do, but I don't have as many schedules as I have really just the routine of what we're going to do. I like to know in advance where we're going and what we're going to do. But, like if you said, well, yeah, absolutely, tomorrow we're going to the park, and then it's pouring down rain and it wasn't forecast for rain, but there is rain. Well, now what do I do? I do like the idea, and I don't know, maybe for your friends, if you had how this would work or how you think they would work. But I thought if someone asked me, I would think, well, what day of the week is it? Because the weekends are different from the weekdays, even if the kids aren't in school or anything, there's still a difference there. And asking the child, depending on how old they are, but let's say they're old enough to, to figure it out and say, okay, well, hey, tomorrow's Wednesday. What do we do on Wednesdays? And just let them think about it. And again, beginning the process of getting them to understand there's a calendar, there's a week, there's days of the week. And even if you just say, well, tomorrow's a weekday, we usually go to do this on weekdays. Do you think tomorrow's the day we would do that? Well, let's wait and see, maybe. Because you don't want to, again, you don't want to overcommit. You definitely don't want to, wake up in the morning and your one of your children has a stomach virus suddenly, and we have to throw all of our plans out the window. But having that ability to help the kids get on that, because it kind of, for me, if my kids are asking me about what we're doing tomorrow, for me, I'm thinking, because of my personal history, is that anxiety? Is that something they're looking at? They have a fear of what's coming up because they're not sure of what's coming up, and how can I help them around that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I think a good thing though too. I mean, I don't know, but for their mental development, if they're already thinking about tomorrow, a lot of kids never realize there's a tomorrow until they're like 8 or 9, it seems.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another day coming. Yeah, okay. So I like that they're, that it comes about.
Yeah, I also would say, like, like you're talking about, like kind of getting kids to realize they're like, certain days of the week that they do things. Like I know with my daughter, she's 5, and so she goes to pre-K Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and so a lot of times she'll be like, "Do I need to, or am I going to school tomorrow?" And it's so funny because like she almost thinks it's every day, just
Mhm.
because she has no concept of time really. And so I'm like, "Well, what is tomorrow?" Well, tomorrow's
Nice.
Tuesday. Do you go to preschool on Tuesdays? No. Okay. Yeah.
Question
And
answered.
then, yeah. And so then the next day it's like, am I going to preschool? Like, well, what is, like we go through it again. And slowly but surely she picks it up. And two, like she's starting to see, like she actually can read a calendar really well now, which is really good. So she can
Yeah.
see like, oh, like this is the day I'm going to kindergarten, or this is the day this is going on. So that's been, those kind of things definitely have been super helpful for just letting her learn some new stuff. So
Mhm.
you mentioned though too, when you were talking about road tripping, the whole like, what was it like? Oh, it's going to be an hour or whatever.
Mhm.
And I was thinking about it like from the way of like the technology that we have, especially like kids, like, a lot of kids have like their own tablets, or maybe they
Mhm.
just have like a digital watch or whatever. And I was thinking about the fact that like if you kind of know like the approximate, like, hey, like we're going to this destination, we're going to drive for like 6 hours or something like that. I was thinking to myself, for road tripping this summer with my kids, I might actually like set up like a timer on their watch or on like the iPad or whatever,
Mhm.
that allows them to just like tap it and be like, oh, like I don't need to ask because I can see like it counting down. Like this, I know that we're
Yeah.
getting close to the destination, even if it's off by a little bit, it's fine. But I was just like, how can we use like some of the technology that we let our kids
Mhm.
tap into to maybe relieve that whole "are we there yet"
Yeah.
question.
It
So
makes
that
me
kind of came into my mind.
It makes me think of for plane trips, and most of the planes. I mean, I haven't been on a lot of plane trips, but when we go with the kids, there's a screen on the back of the seat in front of you, and you can
Yeah.
watch movies in it, or you can play games. But one of the settings it has is the current altitude, airspeed of the jet itself, and where you are on the United States map. And
Mhm.
I'm like, if I could do that, and my kids don't all have tablets or screens, but I think most of them do. I think my 2 oldest have phones, so I think we're doing okay. But to have that ability to go, okay, where are we, and just GPS it too. A big part of their understanding. And again, what are you looking at? Well, this is a map of the states, the United States. These are all the states of it, or not all of them, but these are the states that we're driving through. How far do we have to the state line? How far do we have to go before this or that? So that's a
Yeah.
good thought. I like you
Yeah,
came up with that.
definitely. Yeah, so I'm going to try to use some of that this summer, and we'll see. I also want to try to teach my oldest how to read like an actual paper map while we're out driving too.
Yes,
So I feel
absolutely.
like that's a lost art. So
Mhm.
we'll see how that all plays out. But routines they have a place. They really do. Like I said, I'm lax about them, but it's one of those things where you have to find your own groove for your family, and
Bingo.
really just go with it. And don't be hard on yourself if you've got to change it up. If you're like, I really wanted it to go this way and it's just not going that way, just, hey man, take a deep breath, breathe it out, and be like, all right, like what do we need to change? How can we make this better? Because you don't want to basically rut yourself in a spot where it's just you're getting upset about the schedule and routine not working, when you have the ability to change it in some different ways. I mean, there are going to be things that you can't change because school ends when school ends, and
Mhm.
sports are when they are, but for the most part, you have control over your schedule and your routine on a daily basis.
Mhm.
So yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't really have much else to really add to that. Hopefully that this is something that will help people maybe feel a little bit more like confident in that, and feel better about just building it out. But I mean, there are so many different resources out there. Like
Mhm.
that was the other thing. Like I really look around, because whether it be the community of people you're in, or whether it be online with Pinterest or something along those lines, and Google, of course, has stuff too.
Yes.
You can always find something to kind of give you at least a guideline as to where to go to build that out for your family.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about what's going to be coming up in the next few weeks. So
Speaking of scheduling.
Yeah, speaking of scheduling. Yeah. So Danny and I, we were kind of brainstorming last week about what kind of things to do. This kind of falls underneath the topic of just challenges of stay-at-home dads, stay-at-home parents. And so we're going to kind of do a series of different things on that. But along with that, and I don't want to spoil all the topics that we're going to be discussing, so you kind of have to wait and see. We also are going to be looking for talking to guys about things that they geek out about. I mean, everybody has those things, whether it be sports, movies, comics,
Beer.
you name it. Beer.
I mean,
Yeah.
There's a lot of beer geeks. There's probably more beer geeks than movie geeks these days.
Might be, yeah, and just all the different stuff like that. I mean, we could bring people in here just to talk Mandalorian or WandaVision or whatever for hours, honestly. But we want to talk to those guys. Yeah, I would too. I know. So that's kind of where we're looking to go, just kind of having some fun sessions where we're going to talk about that. If you've got a hobby that you're really passionate about and you've spent some time like really building it out, whatever it is, woodcraft, woodworking, blacksmithing. Yeah. Yeah.
Where's my fellow blacksmiths out there? Now there's a lot of woodworking dads. Okay. I appreciate all the mad skills you have, but seriously, heating hot metal and beating it with a hammer, you can't beat that.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. I love Forged in Fire.
Yes.
So stuff like that. If you blow glass, like that would be really cool. I actually reached out to one of the contestants from Blown Away 2 on Netflix because he was a stay-at-home dad and he got to compete. Yeah, he got to compete in the competition. So it was cool watching him. He's from Canada. So I'm trying to I'm like, hey man, like, have you ever thought about coming on a show? So we'll see what happens. But just stuff like that. Like I really want to see this show kind of spread its wings and really grab onto a lot of the other fun things that are going on out there. So if you fit any of those areas, we want to hear from you. Leave us a message.
Everybody has a geek. You can't say you don't have a geek anymore. It used to be like I was, like me, I'm actually gaming geek. I'm like the old school geek, but now it's like a cool thing. So what do you geek out about? Come on, there's something.
Yeah. We want to hear about it. So send us a message and let us know. And we can try to get something set up to where we can get you on the show and let you really geek out and have a good time showing us stuff. So be fun to get Art Eddie on this show and have him give us all kinds of, he's got a room that's just completely geeked out and stuff.
Nice.
So we'll see what happens, but basically that's what we're looking for. That's kind of the direction we're going to be going the next few weeks. So hopefully you'll stick around and listen to the show. It was fun getting to talk to you tonight, Danny. Hopefully your schedule and everything tomorrow goes smoothly and it's just a nice coast through the rest of the week.
It'll go routinely. Right.
There we go.
See what I did there? Yeah. It's the last dad joke of the night. That's all.
All right, cool, man. Well, hey, thanks for everybody for listening and we'll catch you all next week.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.